Interstellar colonization, an aspiration of future endeavors to some, nebulous unformed ideas to others, yet conceptually captivating millions for innumerable reasons. To one Soviet scientist, measuring a civilization's future energy consumption could not only be speculated, but also be measured succinctly. The succinct measurement method in question? The Kardashev Scale. So, what is this Kardashev Scale? For starters, we can go to the source itself, since Nikolai Semyonovich Kardashev himself wrote an essay in 1964 titled Transmission of Information by Extraterrestrial Civilizations. I already have this essay here and can start reading it. The protracted duration of signal propagation is a determining factor in the one-way transmission of information through space. Reliable reception, or any reception at all, of signals by unknown subscribers necessarily requires an isotropic emission, the optimum signal spectrum for transmitting the maximum amount of information in the presence of quantum noise and the background of cosmic radio frequency emission. Maybe this isn't exactly something you can just Google real quick. In the meantime, if you're interested in Kardashev's official works, they're on the SAO, Astrophysics Data System, from Harvard's online library, which I linked in the description. And this essay PDF itself is also linked for any super eggheads out there. As for the rest of us plebs, we'll dumb these concepts down into something more palatable. So the Kardashev scale is broken down into 7 levels or types. Except Nikolai Kardashev only came up with 3 types himself. Types 4 through 7 came later after he speculated about futuristic civilizations. To get started, what exactly is a Type 1 civilization? According to Matthew Williams, a space journalist from universetoday.com, says a Type 1 civilization refers to those that have developed the means to harness and store all of their home planet's energy. According to Kardashev, this would amount to the consumption of 4 times 1019 ergs per second, which would likely be in the forms of fusion power, antimatter, and renewable energy on a global scale. In case you're like me and didn't know what an erg per second means, an erg is a unit of energy equal to 10 to the negative 7 joules, and joules, a measurement I actually did know before this video project, is a measurement of energy in the form of force. Think interplanetary travel, but not necessarily interstellar travel yet, or if interstellar travel is a thing, it's only to the nearest stars and populations are still concentrated in our home star system. According to Michio Kaku, an American professor of theoretical physics, Type 1 civilizations harvest planetary power, utilizing all the sunlight that strikes their planet. They can, perhaps, harness the power of volcanoes, manipulate the weather, control earthquakes, and build cities on the ocean. All planetary power is within their control. What this looks like to Michio Kaku is that Earth's ecosystems are being repaired after centuries of catastrophic damage to Earth's environment due to human activity. Many species by this point would have gone extinct because of pollution, industrial activity, wars, and messing with genetic and nanotechnology experiments. Except by the time humanity reaches Type 1 status, extinct animals and plants would be recreated by bringing them back to life, using DNA samples and molecular engineering. Deserts would be transformed into forests with the use of artificially controlled rain. In a nutshell, Kaku thinks we humans will absolutely wreck our home planet before we fix it. Also, since we will be interplanetary, according to this theory, one major indicator of Type 1 status is the moon being heavily populated, since it would likely be the first or one of the first colonies due to its close proximity to Earth and probably easier to sustain than other sites. Okay, but what about interstellar civilizations? Well, that's Type 2 for you. Type 2 is marked by its ability to fully harness energy from stars through the use of spacefaring hypothetical machines. A fuller definition provided by Britannica is as follows. The civilization is capable of using the entire energy output of its star, or about 10 to the 26 watts. This would be possible through a theoretical technology called a Dyson sphere. That would completely envelop a star to capture all of its energy. Such a sphere in the solar system would have a surface area of about 600 million times greater than the Earth's surface area. The civilization would be able to transmit information across a galaxy. If you're a Star Trek fan, Star Trek falls somewhere between Type 1 and Type 2 civilization. Or at least that's according to the scholars of Reddit. Don't shoot the messenger. But according to these scholars, Star Wars is higher tech and falls between Type 2 and Type 3. This is according to Brent1123, a self-proclaimed lightning-fast VCR repair technician, because, and I quote, if an average Star Destroyer's hypermatter reactor can output greater than an average star, then they are definitely somewhere between Type 2 and 3. So that gives you a vague idea of what Type 1 and 2 civilizations look like. Both are capable of terraforming, just Type 2 is way better at it, and does it at a galaxy-level scale. Just not quite intergalactic yet. Basically, Type 2's end goal is complete colonization of the Milky Way galaxy. Our nearest neighboring galaxy, Andromeda, hasn't been colonized yet. But it's definitely on the agenda for a Type 2 civilization to aspire to reach at the transition to the Type 3 phase. Speaking of Type 3, this is intergalactic civilization now, and is characterized by spooky stuff like singularity, which, in case you didn't know, singularity is becoming one with machine intelligence. Basically, in that stage, we humans become creepy cybernetic aliens that are part machine, part flesh, and possibly have a Borg-like hive mind in this scenario, due to super intergalactic Neuralink? Yeah, if you're thinking that would suck to live in, you're not alone. Because same. Every thought you had would be broadcast to everyone in existence via this link, and you would hear them too. Absolutely no privacy and no individuality. That, or the other theory, is humans have either gone extinct, and it's just our Skynet AIs terrorizing all organic life, or that humans have transcended into beings of pure energy, able to control and direct machines through, I don't know, telepathy, I guess. Maybe a supercharged Bluetooth device makes that happen? The premise does make for some cool sci-fi world-building scenarios, though. It's very grimdark, like another franchise I love, Warhammer 40k. But that world setting is a mixture of Type 1 and Type 2 elements. The source for that tidbit about Warhammer 40k is my insight after reading articles online, so now I'm an expert, I think. I hope. Feel free to disagree in case I nerfed or oversold the technology of Warhammer 40k. I'm basically at an equivalent of WebMD understanding of this stuff, and not a theoretical astrophysicist myself. Also on Type 3 civilizations, if you thought Dyson spheres harnessing stars for energy was hard to imagine, well, Type 3 says hold my futuristic alcoholic beverage, because now black holes are being utilized for power output. And without dying in the process too. So efficient. Efficient, I think, is the only nice thing I have to say about living in this type of future, because holy crap, my finite pre-Type 1 purely biological brain can't fathom a comfortable life in this world. Oh yeah, and as a side note, in case you were wondering if our current time has been estimated on the Kardashev scale, it has. According to Carl Sagan, a US astronomer, our civilization was at 0.7 in 1973 when he calculated it. A more recent figure in 2023 by someone who Google would not allow me to find suggests that we currently sit at 0.7276. I personally grabbed this figure from Britannica.com, and Carl Sagan's calculation was more of an estimate. Another more specific figure came 8 years prior in 1965, suggesting the contemporary world of that day was at 0.676. And Britannica didn't say who calculated that either. Oh, well, I guess. Wow, we just learned all of Nikolai Kardashev's civilization types. Thank you. It was no easy feat for me to accomplish this for you guys. So what are the remaining types then? and who came up with them? To answer both questions, the man who came up with civilization types 4 through 7 was an English cosmologist and theoretical physicist by the name of John D. Barrow. He first mentions this theory in 1998 in his book Impossibility, The Limits of Science and the Science of Limits. In his thesis, moving beyond Type 3 meant controlling smaller and smaller elements rather than the path before, which was mastery over larger and larger universal bodies. Type 4 civilization is identified by its total mastery of individual atoms. We're getting into speculating godlike civilizations now that would resemble a society that would look like ancient pagan mythos around the world, but having total control of the universe and not being limited to specific regions on Earth. Basically, in this theory, a Type 4 civilization now has colonized everything in the entire universe. There's no mystery left. Every celestial body is known and manipulated by this civilization, from the largest celestial bodies, such as whole galaxies, to the smallest quark within an atom. Okay, by this point, the differences are becoming more nebulous as we progress, because Type 5 civilization is now characterized by atomic nuclei mastery. I personally had to look up what that meant, and found it defined by the U.S. Department of Energy. In 1911, Ernst Rutherford, a New Zealand physicist and chemist, discovered that at the core of every atom is a nucleus, and while it only occupies 0.01% of the total volume of the atom, it makes up 99.9% of the mass of the whole atom. Just as a side note, mass is similar to weight, but not the same, because weight varies from place to place relating to gravity, while mass is a consistent unit measuring quantity of matter, not to be confused with density, which is the measurement of mass divided by volume. With this power, supposedly now we're getting into multiversal theory. So the first universe you were in that was fully colonized and utilized by the Type 4 civilization now spills out into multiple alternate universes. Kind of like Rick and Morty's multiversal travel, except the civilization is colonizing the multiverse, not just traveling it. Now, this is speculated to be because there already exists a multiverse to be colonized, or that the civilization would have godlike creating powers to build their own custom universes, separate from their own, but still travelable between them. People themselves have ascended from their biological past, and now are basically consciousness being placated into machinery, or have become some extra dimensional being that our tiny pre-Type 1 civilization minds can't grasp. Well, how could you get any more high-tech than that? Well, Barrow still has 2 more type civilizations to go, so stay strapped in for an explanation. According to beyonduniverse.fandom.wiki.com, a Type 6 civilization is defined by having an energy consumption of 10 to the 66 power watts, corresponding to full exploitation of the energy resources of all universes in the multiverse. So like Type 4, but now its total mastery has expanded into the multiverse as well, and has the ability to keep creating new universes with complete and total control over them. Now, I seriously have no idea how Beyond Universe got this number, or how this number could even be calculated, but also according to them, Type 6 civilizations can take 100 octillion years to reach this rating. That's 1 with 30 zeros to the right of it. Years to reach this point. I can't even imagine this scenario. It goes over my head, and so does the last civilization type, to be honest. Continuing on to concepts over my head, Type 7, or as Barrow called it, Type Omega, meaning last, is its ability to control fundamental elements of space-time. In a nutshell, this is speculating about humans becoming all-powerful gods. They would be, as defined by Kardashev.fandom.com, and I quote, would travel, transcend, and potentially encompass the omniverse, which is the collection of every single universe, multiverse, megaverse, paraverse, 11D dimension, and first realm reality. Whatever all of those were. I think I may have only known about half of those from watching and reading sci-fi stuff. So that's the theory of the Kardashev scale. Would you want to live in any of these scenarios? Personally, I only think types 1 and 2 could potentially be fun, but anything after that sounds terrifying. Especially with the potential for immortal elites controlling every thought and action of humanity like a hive mind is unsettling, to put it lightly. But hey, this speculative science is kind of cool to think about in our 0.7276 type civilization. Feel free to leave your thoughts in the comments below. Would you want to live in any of these futuristic civilizations? Well, that's all for now. My brain hurts. I learned a lot making this video, and I hope you learned a lot by watching this video. Stay tuned for more ExEnCu, exploring enigmatic curiosities.